concerns that Chuck may be shot. I mean, he's lost 3 of his last 4, hasn't he?
Yep.
All by knockout, although admittedly against Jardine it was more kicks that did the damage, leg strikes. What I'm concerned about with Liddell is his age, and I know it gets right on the goat of MMA fans, because he's a long-standing legend in many people's eyes. He is in mine. But there is a time for everyone. And, yeah, sure, if he knocks Ruhr out on Saturday night, the early hours of Sunday morning in the UK, fine. But, you know, there's a long way to go in this fight. I think Ruhr's style is made for Chuck. That's the way I see it.
Mark?
I think this is going to be an all-out war. I totally disagree with Gareth. Chuck Liddell's definitely not finished. I spoke to him this week. He's adamant he can still hang with guys 21, 22 in the gym. He's got a point to prove. Possibly, you know, the extra pressure is on him, I would say. Losing, you know, 3 out of the last 4 is no great shakes. But he is the Iceman. He is, you know, the figurehead of the UFC still. He's the most iconic figure they've ever had. He's going to blitz Shogun on Saturday.
I don't disagree with the most iconic figure, and I think there'll always be a role for him as, you know, as part of. But I can't see Dana White ever getting rid of him from the promotion.
But if you look at the Rashad Evans fight, he was winning that fight.
He was winning the fight till he was knocked out.
And you know, that's how MMA is. You know, it is split seconds can change fights.
Absolutely.
Against Jardine can make anyone look awkward. You know, so I think
he makes everyone look awkward.
Well,
yeah, he does.
But
he's got that style.
But Chuck's there's a long way to go before we can totally write Chuck
So
off.
before we can say goodbye to Chuck,
Yeah.
a long time. OK, let's have a look at the fight predictions. Benjamin and Steve have also gone for Chuck to win this one as well. So there it is, up in print, so nobody can change their mind. That is the way it is. Your thoughts?
It's good to see you supporting Chuck, Gareth.
Well, I am. I do think.
You can change your mind now. If you're going to change your mind, now is the time.
Listen, I want Chuck Liddell to carry on, but I'm just concerned that he's going to get knocked out again and keep getting knocked out. What I think is significant in this as well, and I think slightly in his favour, is that Howard Davis, who the Olympic boxing champion, 76 lightweight champion, American, who won his Olympic gold medal in Montreal. This fight's in Montreal, and I think those kind of signals are good. And I think I'm hearing as well, and no doubt you spoke to Chuck about this, that he's been getting his hands back up to his chin in training. You know, when he's striking, he's coming back and he's tightened up his defence, and that's what he needed to do.
Absolutely. I mean, he still claims that he's as sharp and as quick as ever, but he said to me that he's tightened up the defensive part of his game. He's worked a lot on his positioning and his footwork. After he's thrown a punch, he doesn't want to be left as open, which is what happened in the Rashad fight.
Yeah.
He threw the uppercut, Rashad threw the overhand right, knocked him out.
What's happened to his defence? Has he just dwindled over time, or did he never feel he was in a position where he needed to defend?
No, this is a guy who's renowned for brawl and sprawl as his style, you know. He's very hard to take down. He widens out on people when they try and take him down.
Just always on the attack.
And he's always on the attack. He's got fantastic punches in both hands. He's got very good strikes with his legs as well, which he hasn't used a lot recently. You know, he's just an all-round. He thinks his way through a fight. He looks for openings, and he's just a legend in the UFC. He's a guy who I think five title defences he made in a row. He's one of the guys who really drew millions and millions to the sport. This is a guy who was a security guard at the Super Bowl 10 years ago, I think last year's Super Bowl, sitting there with the president and all the rest of them, you know.
All right, plenty still to come here on Ultimate Talk as Ross Pearson and Andre Winner join us in the studio. Plus, which Anderson Silva will turn up this week? We'll look ahead to his fight against Thales Leites. Welcome back to Ultimate Talk here on Setanta Sports. Remember, we always want to get your emails and texts. Contact us at views@setanta.com, views@setanta.com, or you can text us 60300. Make sure you start those texts with the word views. They'll be charged at your standard network rate. Remember, you can always see the show on the UFC website, ufc.com, or you can download it as a podcast. Just go to iTunes and follow the links for Ultimate Talk, or, of course, you can go to setanta.com. Right, they joined us. Andre Winner and Ross Pearson are here. Hi, guys.
Thank you.
From the latest series of The Ultimate Fighter. We're going to get you involved right from the start, OK? But the first, we're going to go on and look ahead to UFC 97 on Saturday night. We'll talk about the main headline fight, Anderson Silva defending his middleweight title against Thales Leites. For a change, I'm going to show you the fight predictions first. All 5 of our regular guys can only see this going one way. Mark, you think Silva will destroy Leites? Is that right?
I wouldn't say destroy. I think he'll beat him comfortably. But Leites will, if Leites can get the fight to the ground, he's got an excellent ground game. We saw in the Dan Henderson fight with Anderson Silva, if you can get him on the ground, you stand a chance. If you stand and trade with him, you're going to get knocked out or you're going to be TKO'd. That would be my advice to Tyler Leites. If he's going to try and win this, he needs to get Silva to the ground.
Gareth?
Yeah, I mean, conventional wisdom would dictate here that, Leites will want to get in guard and Anderson Silva will keep it on the feet. I can't see anything other than, rather like 6 months ago against Patrick Cote, Leites being overawed by Silva, he's won 8 fights in a row in the UFC. Only your Royce Gracie and John Fitch have done that in the past, so he goes in the longest winning streak ever in UFC history. But I just think it's his fight. I mean, this guy is just incredible. He probably is, in the top 1, 2, 3 pound-for-pound fighters in the world at the moment. But I was interested in Ross's opinion earlier, because Ross has a feeling that it could go another way.
Not so much that it would go another way. I don't just see it being another Anderson Silva walkover. I think Thales Leites carries like an awkward style about him, which causes problems in all areas of a fight for Anderson Silva. I think, obviously, we all know Anderson Silva's stand-up's like fantastic, and Thales Leites on the ground is unbelievable. And obviously, Thales wants it on the floor. Anderson's going to try and keep it standing, but he's just got that awkward demeanour about him. He's got a style that can make a good fighter look really average.
He did it against Nate Marquardt, didn't he? UFC 85 Bedlam in London. It was like 2 stag beetles locking horns for 15 minutes. Leites won that fight, incidentally, when he had 2 points deducted. I think rounds 2 and 3, it might have been 1 and 2, 2 and 3, and won it on a split points decision. So if he hadn't had those points, if Marquardt hadn't had those points deducted, it might have been Marquardt going up against Silva again. So I think Leites will take his chance, there's no doubt about it. And I don't disagree with Ross. I think he might make it very awkward for Silva.
I can definitely see Anderson Silva winning the fight, but I just can't see it being like a dominant performance, because I think there's an aspect of the fight where he's got to be on his game and watch everything what Thales throws at him.
Andre, you have a word as well, and you don't have to agree.
I definitely see Silva winning the fight. Leites can be tricky on the ground, but I don't think he will sub Anderson. I think Anderson will TKO him, whether it be the first or second round. I think somewhere mid-second round. I think he'll feeling out process first round, second round. I think he will hurt him, and then somehow Leites will try something, whether try to pull guard or get dropped, and I think Anderson will TKO him.
You're being brave. You're being quite specific now, exactly when it's going to happen. We'll move on. A reminder. Should you... Don't say that. Don't say that.
So am I.
Should you need that one, you can see UFC 97 live in the early hours of Sunday morning, 3 a.m. start over on Setanta Sports. That's, normal these days, so, go to bed early or stay up and push on through. Yeah, stay up and push on through. I'm taking Andre's advice there. A warm welcome once again, then, to Andre Winner and Ross Pearson from the latest series of Ultimate Fighter. Andre, we'll start with you. We're talking about Anderson Silva, of course. We've been talking about that. What I want to know now is about your experience out there in this Ultimate Fighter series and what you got out of it.
What I got out of it? I can't really say that I went into the house...
It's difficult, I know, because you went over there as a gang. How many of you went over? 16 or something?
There was 16, but we all fought down to 8.
Yeah.
That's right, OK. Out in Vegas?
Yeah, that's Vegas. That's correct. It was... the experience itself wasn't as much as what I thought it was going to be. I mean, obviously, you watch it on TV and... You see a lot of things that seem to be going on in the house, but it wasn't quite like that. We all got along fairly well. We had a tight UK team. We all trained hard. Mike Bisping obviously put a lot of time and effort into us, and we really wanted to win. So we all put a lot of dedication in there, and we trained hard.
The thing is, to make it a TV show, of course, they're looking at ways of trying to split the camp and little editorial control there. So would you go along with Andre and say maybe it's not a total reflection of the way things were?
No, I'd pretty much agree with Andre. We all of us got on really, really well. Where it was an awesome experience for me. I mean, I wouldn't say I would like to do it again. But,
What's that, being trapped in the house?
being trapped in the house.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the experience from training with the other guys and training with Mike Bisping and having that facility, the UFC facility and all that was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
But like the shenanigans, shall we say, in the house, and that does put a little bit of an element on what.
Is it because you can't relax and you can't get away from it?
Yeah,
I mean, it's on you all the time.
All the time, constantly, which is for me was because I come from in the northeast, back at home it's quiet and you can get away, and where it's full on 24 hours a day. So it was a definite change of experience of life for me.
I mean, from the punter's point of view, obviously an excellent vehicle for UFC.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen what it's done for, Michael Bisping's career, Rashad Evans' career. I wanted to ask you guys what it was like working